Right, put the MPUS4 stuff out the road for a minute. Just want to quickly get this through the table. This should hopefully not take all that long to do. This is the Coinmaster Joker Poker board that I'm looking at for a friend. See, I'm not looking at any of my own stuff at the minute, which is slightly... well, that is what it is, but I'll need to get on my own stuff at some point. But this is the Coinmaster Joker Poker, which is not running. I've been helping my friend try to diagnose it online, and one thing we've noticed is that pin 36 on the CPU here is stuck. It's always low. So it's not going to run like that because it can't read any of the address lines. He's went through the whole board, he's had all these chips off, he's had everything out of socket off, he's had the RAM off. We tried reborning the ROMs, we've looked at these PAL chips. We cannot get this short to clear. So he sent it to me because he's basically tearing his hair out with it, and I'm going to have a look. Now, I do have a Coinmaster manual with this pinout, but the pinout for the Blockbuster board is not the same as this, or at least whoever bought the little, it's a little Bartop game. Coinmaster made a big full-size fruit machine for Blockbuster, but when they made the Joker Poker games, you've seen them mostly in Ireland. It's just a little Bartop thing, so I was going to power it with 9 volt AC in here, well, 12 volt AC, but it wouldn't make a difference. Regular, it would still take it down to 5. But it's going to be pretty pointless, because if I turn the board over, the onboard power supply has been disabled. The output for regular has been cut right there. So I cannot power the board up from its onboard power supply. So I'll need to get my ATX power supply and see what lines I can find on here. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find 5 volt and 12 volt here somewhere. I know on the manual it says there's 12 volt coming into here on the back side. Except that doesn't look like a power pin. So I wonder if there's a different revision being made of this board for the Bartop. But anyways, I'm digressing a little bit here. First thing we need to try and figure out is why pin 36 is holding the ground. So before I even power it up, I'm just going to have a look around for shorts. What the... excuse me 1 second. So I went a bit weird there. So anyway, look, I'm on pin 36 there of the CPU socket. I took the CPU out of socket. It's over there, and we don't have a dead short, but we do have a 300 ohm resistance, which is really, really weird. That's going to be enough to pull that line low, and it means the CPU address line there is always stuck low. Pin 36 is an address line A2 or A6, I think. I'll double check that. But, yeah, that's not going to work. That's never going to work. If I go to another line, see, open. We've got our 300 ohms there. Go to the next line up, open. Something's partially shorted the ground. Now the board's never going to work like that, so what I'm going to have to do now is go through the same motions that my friend did. I'm going to pull everything one at a time and see if the short clears. Well, see if this low resistance clears. It's not a total short, it's not going to blow up fuses or anything, but it's not going to work like that. It does. Pin 36 in CPU does buzz out to IC22 here, but I removed that and it made no difference. So what to do now is, I don't think it'll be the RAM. It might be, but I don't know. But I'm going to remove, first of all, the ROMs and then these PIAs. We might even have to take this off. No, it won't be that because the address lines aren't on it there. Yeah, but we're definitely taking these off and these off. I've just taken ROM 1 out of its socket and the 300 ohm has gone. Sure. But these ROMs were reburnt, so surely not. Surely this ROM isn't bad. Yeah, unbelievably, ROM's bad. It's not in circuit. I've hooked it up to my meter. I've got 330 ohms on that address pin there to ground. Now this is a repro. This isn't the original ROM. This is one that my friend programmed. So the question now becomes: is something on this board killing the ROM? Is something in my friend's programmer killing the ROM, or did the ROM just die? Now it won't be Ripple for the power supply killing the EPROMs, because this isn't running. This power supply never runs when it's working. It could be the EPROM just died. Sometimes you get it with these things that sometimes you get it, they just fail when you program them, or they fail shortly after you program them. But these things are getting on for about 30-year-old. These 2764s, they haven't made these for quite some time. There's millions still out there in the world in stock, but they don't make them anymore. So, but this, yeah, sometimes you get it where you can program it and it won't program at all, or you can program it and it won't verify, or you can program it and it'll verify once and then you try and use it on a board and it dies. It's just, there's lots of, when you look, you can't see it to the naked eye, but there's lots of little interconnects going between the pins to the silicon die, and you can get corrosion outside of the chip, you can get corrosion inside of the chip as well. You can get internal corrosion, internal degradation, and sometimes applying power to weakened links just blows them open, or your programmer can accidentally overvolt it and blow it open, or it just fails. But this one here, this has failed. With pin 4 there having a 330 ohm resistance, pin 4 is always going to appear low, and it's going to pull anything else connected to it low. So, starting point before we do anything else, we need to get a hold of the program for Joker Poker and burn a new set of ROMs. Right, just get a quick snap here of where these are supposed to be in the board. I'd take these up to the programmer and see what they actually are. I need to know what this one is, because I want to burn this one, but I'm not sure if this is the first program ROM, or if this is the first program and this is the second, because the cell screen in the board is a little bit confusing. This says number 1 memory, that says number 2 memory, but that says 2, that says 1. So, go upstairs and see if anything's on this at all, and we'll see what this identifies as. Right, excuse me to pause this video. I'm watching a YouTube video while I'm doing this. This is a very, very good guy I've been following for a few years, Gadget UK 164. If you're into computers anyway at all, watch his channel. He does Commodores, he does Amstrads, Atari STs, Sega Mega Drives, Famicoms, you name it. Very, very skilled man. Knows what he's doing. Recommend him to anybody, and I've learned quite a few tricks off him in the past, including how to surface mount solder, which I found an absolutely terrifying experience when I did that Snow King Pekislo a couple of years back. But anyways, I've got ROM 1 there on the programmer, and it is absolute toast. It's definitely blown. You can see wee remnants of the code in there, wee snippets where it's tried to burn it, but any time it's tried to drive pin A6, we've just got a whole bunch of Fs. Weird thing is, this programmed at my friend's house and it verified, but I think what's maybe happened is it's verified and then it failed. verifications killed it. And just for giggles, I put it in MAME ROM ident and I get no match. So the board has been trying to drive stuff with mints for brains, but we need to find out now what this ROM 2 is. Is this the first ROM in the program, or is it this one? Got a bit of bent pin here, just manipulate that, and then TMS 2764, so I need to change device selection. There's here. You gotta love these little TL866 programmers, or the T48 they call this. They call this, cause for Chinese stuff, these actually work, and they work really well. But anyways, we've got that second chip in there. Let's read that one in. Yeah, see the difference. You see, I can see the difference straight away. That one's got code on it. That one's fine. That one's absolutely fine. Yeah, there's a valid code on there. And it looks like it might be the start of the ROM actually, because F3313F. Believe that is disable the interrupts and then set the stack pointer. So this may very well be the first ROM. But we'll check that. Let's just save this. And we want to go one layer further in. And then we'll call it Poker UNK. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing there. 2.bin. And now when I go here, MAME 64. ROM ident. Let's see what the survey says with this one. It's the second ROM in Joker Poker. So it is ROM 2, it's program ROM 2. So they're the right way around in the board. 2, 1. Okay. So what I need to do is find another 2764 and burn Joker Poker ROM 1. Basically, it's just called 1.bin. So I'm gonna get on with that. I need to go find one first. I don't know if I've got 2764s. I need to also find my GBS 8200 converter board, because, well, if this is all it is a bad ROM, I could do it getting a screen up and running so I can see what's happening. Alright, so, a couple new ROMs burnt. They're 256s, but that should be alright. I programmed the code onto them 4 times. And I stuck a new Z80 CPU in. Nice new old stock one. Probably nothing much wrong with this one, but it was getting pulled to ground in A6 for God knows how long. So, and it was getting pulled to ground in another line as well before my friend changed the ROMs. So let's start with a level playing field. This is a new old stock one. I know it works. Might as well start fresh. Powering it up with my notorious ATX power supply that I use to power just about everything I'm testing, and I've just got 5 volt ground and 12 connected to the traces under the regulator there. No power coming from the regulator itself because mind the trace is cut, but I've got the 12 volt going in, which gives me power to the reset circuit, and the sound amp, which is over here, and I've got 5 volt going to the board. And if I switch it on, I've just got my logic probe hooked up to a capacitor here. That's a very good sign. CPU is running. Obviously it's not executing any code at the minute because there's no ROMs in there, it's just executing a bunch of FFs. But it's a handy quirk of the Z80 processor. Z80 doesn't have a reset vector, it starts from address 0. And FF is actually the instruction for reset at 38 hex, reset to interrupt. So all this is doing is looking for an interrupt over and over and over again. But it is running. The address lines are cycling and it's doing what it's supposed to CPU wise anyway. So hopefully when I put these two ROMs in, those address lines will keep running. Right, ROMs are installed. Fire it up. Let's grab 36, 40 for 19, 38 for 7. Would you look at that? 40, 39, 38 for 7, 36. It's running. It is running. Now, hold on. 14, 15, 16, 17. And look at that. We got RAM access as well. How's about that then? You know what this means, don't you? You know what this means. I've given myself more bloody work here. I gotta go dig out a screen and a converter board and see if I can actually see something on the thing. Oh well, back in a bit. Right, no dice yet, we've got no display. But I did notice something. I've got some stuck lines on the RAM, but not the ROM. Problem is, the lines aren't stuck on the CPU. If I grab that line there, that line's pulsing away in the CPU, but it's not pulsing over on the RAM. I believe it's 24, 3, 2, 1, 20. That one. Yeah, it's not pulsing on the RAM. But it's pulsing over here. Now, I've traced this out, and this goes to here. It goes to this 157. So, if I grab a couple of lines of this 157, the banks are being selected. Remember, a 157 is a 1 or 2 multiplexer. You can select an A bank and a B bank and send it to an output. So, bank's being selected. It's pulsing like crazy on pin 2. Pin 3 is low, but I believe that's coming from 6845, which won't be selected anyway because we haven't initialized it. But pin 4 is stuck low. Which isn't right because I've got a pulse in pin 1, but I don't have a pulse in pin 4. Pin 4 is stuck, which means that 157 there is stone dead. So the first course of action now is I need to replace that. I don't have an LS 157, I've got an HC 157, but I'll put a socket in and it should do exactly the same job. I'll order a 157 LS part, but an HC one should do for testing. Alright, I'm afraid I'm going to have to pause this one for now. This pal's bad. I've tested these PIAs in an MPU4, they all work fine. I've tested the RAM, all works fine. Put a brand new 6845 in it. The reason I did that is because CPU, RAM and ROM all accessing perfectly. No outputs running. Now the very first output you should probably look at is this 6845 so you can see something happen on the screen, but no dice. And I checked the processor, tried an alternative processor. I checked the IO request line in the processor. It's pulsing. We're sending IO addresses to here and nothing happening. Now I know what these pals are. This one deals with the RAM, this one deals with the ROM. These two are working. This one's kaput. Did find there was an anomaly with that IC there and this one here for that matter. I've changed both. I changed that as well because even though the inputs to this 245 here, sorry for the focus, this 245 here deals with this RAM. Even though the inputs were pulsing high and low, the outputs were only pulsing low. That's nothing to do with this, that's to do with the shared data bus for here coming back low because this isn't running. So, I'm not beat yet. It's going on a pause for a bit. I'm going to get two brand new ROMs for it. Not because there's anything wrong with these ones, but because these ones are a bit tatty. I'll order new ROMs, program them up, and then I've had a look at the software for this, and all the input-output instructions are in the first 400 lines of code or so. So I'm going to see if I can write down all the out and in addresses and see if I can come up with something to plug in here in place of this chip to drive the outputs. I think what I'll start off doing is I'll just try and find the address mapping in the CRT controller and see if I can get something on the screen. Because at the minute I get nothing. I don't even get a valid sync signal because this isn't getting any of its parameters set up at all. It's just sitting there. Right. That's it for the minute. I'm going to get on with some other stuff. Bye bye for now.